This is Rossi Luphine Scarlet from Arknights Endfield. It looks heavy but it's entirely EVA foam. No 3D printers required. And I'm going to show you how to build this. The exact templates are in the description. Let's start building. Since this weapon is huge, print the files on paper, cut the dash line, tape the pieces, and glue them to cardstock so your foam traces stay that accurate. For this build, I'm using the flat templates and sanding the blade edges myself. However, your downloads also includes the Pepakura files with unfolded angles, so you can skip the heavy sanding. Let's move on to the foam. This main blade is a massive 120cm long, so grab your 5mm foam, trace the flat template, and cut out 2 copies for the base. Next, I mess up my order here and apply adhesive too soon because we need to reinforce the tip first, so the tip doesn't get damaged easily like my heart. I let the glue dry, then use the template to cut a slit at the tip, avoiding the bevel. I embedded a long skewer here. Not only does it reinforce the point, but later it will slot directly into our aluminum core. Mark the position and carve a small V groove into both halves. Lock it in with super glue so the foam will sandwiches perfectly flat. With the tip reinforced, we can finally apply contact adhesive. Once it's completely dry, carefully line out the edges and press them together to form our solid 10mm core. Because contact adhesive is unforgiving, use the paper trick. Lay papers down to block the glue. Align your edges perfectly and pull the paper out to lock the foam together. Next, I separate the handle from the blade along this reference line. We are adding different thicknesses of details foam to each section. Next, we need our outer layer for our core. Using the templates, cut 2 copies of the main blade out of 5mm foam and 2 copies of the handle out of thinner 2mm foam. Bring back the template we used earlier for the tip. Use the slick, mark the exact skewer position onto these outer layers, so we know exactly where the core sits. Let's bring in the main structural support. This is a 1cm diameter aluminum pipe, 103cm. Lay it across the foam, pushing it as close to the blade bevel as possible. With the position mark, cut straight down to the long edges. Make sure to keep the ends intact so the foam doesn't lose its shape. Repeat the contact adhesive process and glue one outer blade piece and handle to our core. Notice how I cut the end near the exposed skewer. I cut it open to help remove the inner strip easier. Now that one side is attached, we can easily remove the center strip to reveal the channel. To maximize strength, I connect the skewer to the aluminum pipe. I'm using small foam scrap as cushion so the skewer slots tightly into the core. To secure the metal core to the foam, I'm using steel epoxy for a permanent bond. If you are new to this, just make sure to mix the A and B components evenly before applying it. It will take a while, but once it's dry, it's solid. To make my life easier later, I'm drilling a hole at the end of the aluminum. I'll add a wire loop here so I can hang the prop easily during the painting and curing stages. Next, I carve a small channel at the middle end. This lets the wire sit flush so it won't create any bumps on the sword. With the wire ready, it is time to close the core inside the sword. Glue the 5mm layer onto the blade and the 2mm layer onto the handle to seal everything up. With the core sealed, we'll add these 5mm foam pieces to both sides of the handle. This builds up the grip profile and for the better grip. Back to the blade to add another 2mm layer. While doing this, I also mark the wording onto the foam, so the placement is perfect before we can start carving. Bring back the template and cut out this blackened line. We will use this as a reference to cut a channel into the blade. This channel is exactly why I use 2mm layer here. While we have the template out, I also marked the sanding guide. We will use this line later to bevel the sword edges. Let's move on to the handle tip. We will use the template shown here in the video to trace and cut out exact copies of this piece. Since this handle tip has a sharp point, I'm reinforcing it with a toothpick. You know the drill. Let's go back to the blade, cut both sides of the channel and pull out the foam strip in the middle. This perfect 2mm depth is exactly why I built out this layer first. And if you are using Pepakura template, I have also marked the lining. Just make a V-groove cut to make the channel. After that, you can use a cotton bud with a little thinner to clean out the excess contact adhesive. But honestly, I'm just lazy. Now let's move to the sanding station. Before we start sanding, I use a knife to cut away the sharp corners so the machine has less material to remove. Now grab your Dremel to sand the edges. Use an 80 grit sanding drum to get close to your bevel lines. Then follow up with a 240 grit drum to get a perfectly smooth finish. For a flawless finish, run a 120 grit sanding block over the edges. The Dremel can leave unnoticed bump because the drum is round, so the flat block ensures a perfectly straight bevel. And to get to this concave section right, I use the Dremel to carefully carve out the curve so it matches our reference perfectly. Now that the messy sanding is done, We can finally move on to the best part, adding all the details. This is the sword machinery guard. I split the templates into layers, starting with layer air at the bottom. I also move related parts closer together so the layout is much less confusing to read. Starting with the layer air, the bottom layer. Use the 5mm foam as stated, cut out the middle, and replace it with 3mm foam. This simple step creates a perfect offset. Now let's move to the next part. Cut it out using the stated foam thickness, and mark your sanding guidelines right away so we are ready to sand. For this neck piece, we sandwich two layers of 5mm foam together. Doing this creates a natural center line right in the middle, which we will use as a bevel guide later on. Next, I mark the parts that needs to be beveled, and then roughly mark the section that needs rounding off. Then, it's off to sanding station. After sanding, let's start assembling. We just attach them together based on the layer marking. With the main parts done, I continue adding details like the screw and nuts. Tackling these tiny pieces bit by bit helps me avoid getting confused. And here's a look at the assembled piece, so you can clearly see how all these parts go together. We also can't forget to put together the handle tip and this little trigger looking piece. Once we are done with those parts, the next thing we are going to tackle are the details above the blade. Just like before, I have labeled the exact foam thickness and parts count on the template. But remember, we need these for both sides of the blade, so always flip your template. Once all these parts are cut out, we still need to shape them. Mark your sanding lines and highlight these edges that need to be rounded. With the sanding done, it's time for assembly. I use contact adhesive for all the largest pieces and super glue to quickly attach the rest of the part. And here is exactly what these upper pieces should look like once they're assembled. Moving on to the next section, just follow the template to see the required foam thickness, layer order, and sanding line. Then cut all your pieces out. After that, it's just the usual drill. We get the sanding done and assemble the pieces together. Now we finally check the Pepakura files. I use them to get a better idea of the 3D layers and to assemble parts that aren't flat. In this case, only a few parts actually needed. I have also marked the bevel. That means you need to do bevel cut with your knife to get those sharp corners. And then follow the sanding guides to shape the other bevel edges. For the eye details over here, I'm using a piece of 2mm foam. Just glue it underneath the hole and push it out from behind with your finger to get curved shape. Next, I check the reference and temporarily glue the machinery parts to get the right shape. Then I glue the red wolf head down. Right after the head, we just attach the eyebrow and glue the ear onto the top. For this spot here, cut a small strip of 5mm foam and glue it down as a cushion.
Kicking down the rusted cellar door. Calculate the arc of
now let's move back to the upper blade section. We still have a few parts left to assemble here. And you can find these exact pieces in Pepakura file. We're going to use 3mm foam for all these parts. Just remember to pay close attention and bevel cut all the corners. I highly recommend working on this section by section. It keeps everything organized and is way less confusing. As you can see right here, making those bevel cuts is what gives us a perfect sharp corner. Once all three sections are finished, check your reference image again to get the exact placement and attach them onto the sword. Now grab the aluminum pipe and cut two 2cm pieces to go right here. Then use the pipe to trace two 1cm circle on 2mm foam to close off the end. Once the pipe was on, it felt a little too soft. To fix that, just add an ice cream stick right underneath for extra support, so it doesn't snap off by accident.
Engine screaming like a turbine blade. Foundation shifting where the
to finish the final part, let's cut a few 2mm foam straps. Glue 3 straps on one end and we'll make a lazy braid. Just set one side down and use a drill to spin the foam into a twist. After that, use a heat gun to hit the foam strap. This will soften the foam and then set it permanently in that braided shape once it has finished cooling down. Additionally, if your braid isn't long enough, you can just glue another foam braid to extend it. Now we can finally prep for painting. I'm removing all the temporary parts and using a knife to score the detail lines to help with masking later. Don't forget the line at the end of the handle like I did. Now we use a heat gun to heat seal the foam. This melts the tiny pore on the surface, making it a lot smoother and much easier to prime. Make sure to avoid the counter-adhesive seams because heat will reactivate the glue, and we definitely do not want those to open out. Heating the foam also open out those core lines. This creates a reverse stencil that helps us get much more accurate masking for our paint. To make my life easier when I paint, I'm adding foam hooks to all the parts. This way I can hang them out dry, keep the finish perfectly clean.
Override the limit switch, flip the power, flip the glitch. Everything is sharpening and
Lastly, I actually forgot about these specific parts myself, so please do not forget about this step too. It is finally time to prime. I prefer using water-based paint through a spray gun, but for a great budget alternative, you can always seal your foam with standard white glue or PVA. After several layers of primer, I'll spray the silver base coat, then I will use an airbrush to create the blue-purple gradient. Once you are sure the paint is completely dry, it's safe to start masking over the color we already laid down. I've added the darker shades of silver to the handle and machinery part, then freehand a camo design onto 2-inch masking tape. This makes it much easier to mask off those random patterns. Next, I apply metallic blade to the body and the handle. After masking those sections, I move on to the next cylinder and added the gold to the eye. Once the cylinder and golden eyes are done, it's just wash, rinse and repeat. I tap off the next area and lay down our metallic red paint. To get to this color, I painted bright silver base first, followed by the metallic red top coat to really bring out the metallic shine. For the final color, we just need to paint those wording white.
just to feel alive.
With the paint finally done, it is time for the unboxing. Let's peel this masking tape off and hope everything underneath looks perfect. And just look at how beautiful this turned out. The bright silver and metallic red shines perfectly together. I'm through with this. Now that the paint job is done, it's time for the final assembly. I remove all the temporary foam hooks, line everything up perfectly with our reference, and glue the parts down for good.
Yours and mine. Tearing through the dark, I'm the spark, I'm the fire. Running up the voltage, taking it higher. Smashing through the walls that they put in our way.
Now let's not forget about the foam braid strap. Tightly wrap it around the grip, and then use a little glue to lock it permanently into place. Now that all the parts are attached, it's time for the final touch-up. I'm using Liquitex heavy body paint to add shading, and silver scratches to give the sword true realism.
Lights flashing as I speed down the track. Once you hit the gas, there is no turning back. Every broken
I keep tweaking the shadows and scratches until I'm finally happy with the result. And with that, we are officially done. Thank you for watching. Please consider support me by purchasing my template. Even if you are not building it, grabbing the file really helps me keep making more tutorials like this to help everyone out. So once again, thank you, and I will see you in the next video.
through the dark.